Good evening. Welcome to Ready Row USA. I'm really excited to be here with the new CEO of USRowing, Amanda Kraus. Say hi to the people, Amanda.
Hi, everybody.
And Jim Dietz will be talking with her about her vision for USRowing. She's just started, I believe, November 1st. Is that correct?
That's right. This is 2.5 weeks in.
So you're fresh. But just a few things before we get started. Just when you thought 2020 couldn't get any more challenging, Amanda took over the helm as CEO of USRowing on November 1st, as I said, amid a raging pandemic and an intense conversation about diversity and inclusion in the sport of rowing. Amanda founded Row New York in 2012 and built it into a major force for inclusion in the sport. And Jim will talk with her about her hopes and dreams and plan of action for the organization. And Jim Dietz, probably needs no introduction, but in case you don't know, he's a 6-time Olympic athlete and coach. Can we roll it into 6, Jim?
Yeah, that's good.
6, okay. And he just retired from UMass Amherst, where he's a varsity coach. He currently is co-founded All-American Rowing Camp with Mark Wilson, and he's currently the coach there. And I have the pleasure of having him coach me when I go down there to Florida. So Amanda is our special guest, as I said, and we will be hearing more from her over the next few months. I'm sure we'll have her back on the podcast. But Jim, if you want to wait a second, we do have another thing to mention: station identification. Listen to the end for the hashtag. Well, I won't tell you what it is because I want you to listen to the end. But you can review us on your podcast app or YouTube, and please subscribe so that you get notification of episodes like this. You can win gadgets and gear and services by using that hashtag. So stay tuned for that. And Jim, do you recognize that picture up there?
It looks like Mark handing out treats on one of the rows around Huntoon Island.
That's exactly what it was. That's a mini muffin that he is using. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we would have made it if we hadn't had Mark's mini muffin, maybe. But, okay, and our sponsors are the Rowing Retailer Directory by Rowing Chat. We appreciate their sponsorship. You can go to rowing.chat and browse around to all the retailers. We're trying to help them get rebooted after the pandemic shutdowns and so forth. So it's a great service that Rowing Chat has started. It's rowing.chat/retailer. And then Rebecca Caro of Rowing Chat is putting out her new Rowing Tales book. So she is publishing that next month, and it's on Amazon, Rowing Tales Book 2020. Okay, Jim, it's time to find out what Amanda's got in store for USRowing.
Thanks, Charlotte, and thanks for the opportunity to interview Amanda here tonight. Amanda, there are 26 NGBs in the United States, National Sports Governing Bodies. You're probably one of the few CEOs that actually has participated in the sport that you're in charge of. Can you give us a little bit about how you got involved with rowing?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is so much fun already being here with you, Jim. I wish we were in person. Yeah. And Charlotte, thanks for having me. I will answer that question. Also, fun fact, I was talking with someone at the USOPC this afternoon, and she said, this is actually fun because I so rarely get to talk to women CEOs because I think it's just me and Lili Lang from gymnastics. And then I don't want to get this wrong. There's one more sport that's run by a woman.
That was going to be my next point. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm forgetting what it is. This is terrible. But to answer your question, I was a walk-on at UMass Amherst many years ago. I had been a runner in high school and really didn't know anything about the sport. So was just, tall and wandering through campus. And as all good rowing coaches do, they just grab the tall people and say, have you thought about rowing? So that was my beginning, and never thought that the sport would turn into being such an enormous part of my life. My career is due to this sport for many, many years. Actually, 2002, Row New York was started. And met my husband, as you know, through the sport, through you. You're responsible for that too. So, it's really shaped my life, and I feel very lucky to be in the role that I'm in now to be able to give back to it.
I think US Rowing is very lucky to have somebody of your quality in there. Having the experience of having rowed yourself, having coached yourself, having started a business, in my mind, US Rowing a long time ago needed to be treated like a business, and I think bringing that aspect to the sport is really going to help us a lot. How do you perceive, you've been there since the onset of Title IX and gender equity. And, in the past 26, 27 years since the Amateur Sports Act finally kicked in, you've been a part of the sport. You've seen it grow exponentially. From our early college days to where the NCAA is today, where junior rowing is today. We go to our US Rowing Junior Championships, and it's like going to an international event today. It's absolutely incredible. So we've had this tremendous growth. How are we going to make it continue to grow? How can we become more inclusive? And these, I know, are the same things that World Rowing is looking at the same time.
Yeah, it's just been an explosion for the sport, especially on the women's side, as we know. And I was lucky enough to benefit from that. And I think that that's super exciting. But you're asking good questions, right? How do we stay relevant? And especially now when we're seeing, as a result of this pandemic, rowing being cut from college programs. And it's really devastating to see any sport being cut, but especially, obviously, we're biased to see rowing cut is really upsetting. And I hope it comes back and comes back quickly. And I think, my job right now, 2.5 weeks in, is really, I will have answers. Right now, I think I have more questions than answers in terms of, the sport and its direction. And my job now is to listen to all of our stakeholders. So that's the masters rowers, it's junior rowers, it's coaches, it's adaptive, para, national team athletes, junior national team athletes. I have all these listening tours planned just to ask that question: what can US Rowing do to make the sport better for you as a rower, for you as a coach, for you as a club? How can we be a resource? Because I think when we can show our value, then we can ask for more support from funders to members to clubs. So it'll work in both directions, right? When we can provide more value, then we can ask for more support and feed off of one another in a really good way.
Yeah, I get that often all the time. Well, what does US Rowing do for us? And the fact is we don't publicize enough what we do for the membership. The rules of rowing, our judge referees, championship regattas that we run on every level, from juniors to U23 to elite to masters. Safe sport and how important that is, rowing education and certification of coaches. All of this stuff is relevant, and all of this stuff has a price tag to it. And we need to get out there and show the membership, that US Rowing is in fact working really hard on all of these avenues. And it's going to be difficult to please everybody.
Oh yeah, you can't please everybody. I think you probably know that. I think I think we all know you can't please everybody, but I think it's a combination of, I think there's more we can do. And that's what I'm so eager to find out in these, listening tours with folks over the next few weeks is, getting answers to those questions. What do people want? What do they need? What do rowers and coaches and clubs need? But also we can do a better job of publicizing, like you said, the things that we are doing. So I don't think we're making that clear yet of all the value that we are providing. We're sort of too modest on that front. And now that I'm sort of now that I am on the inside here, I'm seeing, I mean, how incredibly hard this team is working. It's unbelievable. It's a small staff, and they are just, as rowers do, just like, doing the work. So
overachievers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And just, people just are not logging off. I'm like, you guys just go get offline, like go eat dinner, do something else. They're working really hard.
Yeah. So fundraising is going to be a big part of your thing. What's our brand? In the past, I think our sport, I go back a long ways, 56 years in the sport now. And in all that time, our brand has always been, well, you're this elitist sport that's only participated in prep schools in the Ivy League and stuff like that. And I've seen it change tremendously, with programs like yours, with Title IX and all the club and high school programs starting all over the country. It's just amazing. But, what's our brand going to be? How can we go out and sell the sport more? Because I think our sport has so many great stories that could be told.
Yeah, I think that's something I'm really excited about to dig into is, yes, to go back, absolutely fundraising is something that we need to focus on. And, we need to drive revenue. We need to bring in more resources. But I think, in terms of our brand, I'll have a fuller answer for that soon, but it definitely has to change. And I'm excited for it to change. And I think, you were sort of leading the way on that many years ago in the Bronx, right? You were that tall kid from the Bronx, right? And I think we need to do a good job of letting people in this country know that a rower can look like many different things, right? It's not just, the guys from Princeton and Yale and Harvard. It's them, but it's not just them, right? So we're not pushing anybody out, but we're saying a rower can be so many different things in terms of ability, in terms of socioeconomic background, race, gender. We want it to be inclusive. We want to celebrate, we want to celebrate diversity. We want to invite people into the proverbial boathouse who have in the past not felt like there was a place there for them.
Yeah, that's something else that's changed over the past 56 years. I mean, the price of equipment, because of technology, has gone down so much. Our wooden boats are now pre-preg carbon fiber boats that will last 100 years after we're all gone.
Yeah.
Rowing isn't that expensive sport once you get it started within your boathouse. Once you start establishing boats and stuff, it's not that expensive thing that most people think it is.
Right. And they don't think that, they think, oh, I need to, have been doing this since I was young, or, I have to go to school at Princeton, or I have to, there are all these, like, I'm not that. People can't see themselves. And, they always say you can't be what you can't see. So USRowing has to do a good job of showing what a rower can look like. And that's many different things.
Well, there's great ways they can do it now because, again, modern technology, we got camcorders and camera angles and everything else. I mean, our race is no longer the last 100 meters of a race. You're watching races for the entire 2,000 meters of the entire 5K of a head race even. You can bring the audience into your boat today and let them know the people. You get people out there like Jevy Stone, tremendous athlete, doctor, doing it all. Those are great stories. Those stories have to get out there because the public will eat them up.
Definitely. I mean, we're biased, right? But I think, and I'm sure you do too, like, we're the best sort of ambassadors for, like, what this country really should be standing for in terms of, hard work and working together, and what it means to be a part of a team, and what it means to just, like, put the work in. And no matter how you slice it, there are no shortcuts, right? And so rowing rewards that. And I think our country celebrates that. And I think there are a lot of brands that I'm hopeful will want to be associated with our brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too. But it goes, beyond the Olympics even. And I know that's coming up next year, and that's a challenge now. Being the fifth year in a quadrennial, how are you going to support that team? It's difficult for the athletes, difficult for everybody. I think hopefully the games will come to fruition in Tokyo and put everybody to rest, sponsors, athletes, all the others. But it goes beyond that too. It goes to master rowing and how much that's grown over the years. People say, well, what does rowing do for masters rowing? Well, I look around and I go to all the regattas. Masters are represented at every head race. They have regional championships in the United States. They have national championships in the United States. Our masters are going over and competing internationally in Europe. And those masters are kicking back to the sport, and that's part of the growth of the sport, and a very important element of the sport. Now, I think rough count, I think USRowing was talking somewhere about 80,000 registered members. There's probably double that, but we've got to get all those people to come into the fold,
exactly.
and become part of the process, and a lot of that I think is seeing our national team athletes, in the United States and becoming part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely. Are we supposed to answer that question that keeps popping up?
I don't know.
Oh, is it popping up for you too?
It is popping up for me. I think diversity is filled with boots on the ground and local rowing clubs. All clubs are desperately trying to survive.
My friend Nancy Mack has wanted to ask that question for.
I don't think, well, Amanda could answer this question, but I don't think it's USRowing's responsibility to support the clubs in this matter. I think the clubs have to learn to support themselves in this matter, how to bring coaches in. We did this a little bit with adaptive rowing way back when you were in school at UMass, Amanda. We had the adaptive rowing program. How could we help out? We brought the gals down that were registered lifeguards to become lifeguards. Others that were in exercise science majors were getting a credit every semester for teaching the course. There's a lot of different creative ways that clubs can do this. But you jump in on that, Amanda, because you're the expert.
Well, I don't know that I'm the expert, but in terms of helping them, I don't know if it's helping them survive or if it's I'm not sure if I'm understanding the question correctly. If it's helping them survive or helping them make their boathouses more diverse and inclusive. If it's, I probably have thoughts on both. I think if it's, and I actually do think that USRowing can be helpful and will be for, I'll broach the diversity and inclusion piece first. Is one thing, we're trying to do is there's a great new committee that was created of 17 individuals who are fantastic. And we meet twice a month. It's a DEI committee of the board. And there are people from all around the country who are really working on helping me set the agenda for USRowing moving forward on the DEI front. And part of it will be, we will have a full-time person at USRowing who will help answer those questions of clubs, because essentially, and junior programs around the country, essentially people are asking the same questions, right? They're always asking, like, how do we become more inclusive? What do we do with students who aren't comfortable on the water? What do we do in terms of integrating kids from very affluent backgrounds with kids from more modest backgrounds? How do we do these things? And so we're going to be able to help answer those questions and be thought partners with clubs and coaches around the country. We're going to be able to help with showing people how to write grant proposals, how to do fundraising, how to start a fundraising committee, so help drive information and be a resource for clubs. Eventually, I would like us to get to a place where we can raise money to invest in clubs who are starting their own outreach programs. But there's little stuff we can do right now that's easy, like clubs that are serving predominantly kids from low-income backgrounds right now, they can apply for 2 free spots at our convention coming up in December, for example. So there's things that we're already doing, and there's a lot more that we can do to be a resource for clubs. I think there's a lot of information sharing. I think we can, as a governing body, be the group that helps connect groups around the country, right, and host the conversations, because at the end of the day, so many people and coaches and rowers are facing the same challenges and have the same questions. So we can help be a resource in that way.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Yeah, it's a big topic, and again, we're going to have to become a big tent. And one of the things that is going to help our tent expand is the International Olympic Committee now has come up and pushed up the date for coastal rowing and beach sprints coming into the 2024 Olympics. That's a whole different ball game, which again could play into both these avenues, because coastal boats are cheaper, they're more durable, they're more stable. You could get kids that don't have the greatest swimming skills and get them into those boats immediately. Those boats can be used for different levels in your program, from juniors, to adaptive to whatever. So as if you don't have enough on your plate, now you got coastal in there. And how are you going to figure this out?
Yeah, I just end up laughing all the time now. It's sort of like laugh or cry. When we get phone calls like, what are you going to do about COVID? And how are you going to plan? Like budgeting for a year. I experienced this at Row New York when COVID first came to our country. And now I'm going through it at USRowing. Budgeting is always challenging enough, but then you add in like, we don't know when the country will reopen. So
yeah,
so you laugh. And, so you just do the best you can, right? And you do scenario planning but yeah, with coastal, I think, listen, it sounds like a ton of fun. I can't wait to try it out. I don't think I'll be good at it personally, because I don't like get in and out of the boat so fast anymore. And I think that's like a part of it, right? As it starts on the beach. So you have to like sprint and then jump in the boat. And I'm usually the one like, I can't get my shoes off. So I will probably fail, but I think it looks like a ton of fun. And I think I'm hopeful, it's going to drive like a whole new group of people who think, oh, well, this speaks to me, right? This idea of like, it's on the beach and maybe it'll be more fun. And not to say that rowing isn't fun as it is now, but a different kind of fun, maybe more of a spectator sport. Maybe we'll have some beer sponsors there. Like, I just think there's opportunity and like you said, big tent, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be an Olympic sport. So
exactly.
Start training.
I could see coastal going hand in hand with beach volleyball and different things like that. I'd see coastal as, touring around the country. I mean, you can take these boats anywhere. I'm out rowing off of Orleans here on Cape Cod, watching the seals out in the ocean get chased by the great whites. It's like all kinds of good fun.
Yeah. Didn't James do that crazy row somewhere?
Oh yeah. We've both done the race around Cape Ann, the Blackburn Challenge.
Yeah.
We've done a few of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it'll be fun. I mean, I need to learn more about it.
Yeah. We need to start more beer leagues in different towns, get these different bars involved. That's how you get more spectators.
I'm telling you.
And that's what they're going to be looking for on the Olympic channels. How many people are clicking on to the evening races to see rowing, and there again, it's how to be relevant in today's world.
Exactly. And then all the indoor rowing, with hydro and I mean, that wasn't an official plug, but kind of it was.
Yeah. Well, no, I'll tell you, there is a rumor going around that I spread COVID. And the reason is because everybody in America is getting into singles now. And that's where everybody in America should be. I mean, Row New York, CRI, every program in the country. Colleges are finally buying singles.
You did it, Jim.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah. So finally it's happening.
Yeah. And then James did it too, because now hydro's taking off. So,
yeah.
Yes, Tracy.
Yeah.
Yes, I know people who are scared of sharks.
If I go, Tracy, then that'll be a good ending to the book.
Jim, that's not even funny. It's true
Yeah.
that we have to be worried about these sharks. I have no comments. I have no comment on the sharks. But yeah, I think James was behind COVID too, because now everyone's on the hydros, and then with the erging. But all jokes aside, I mean, I can't tell you how many calls just Row New York got. Do you have any of those rowers you could sell us? We're desperate for a rower. That meant they mean ergs or hydros or anything, because it's really taken off. And, we're even talking about, can we, in the World Indoor Championships, this is unofficial, but like, can we create a new category for brand new, like basement rowers, people who are like, oh, I want to throw my hat in the ring, or all those people on, the Orange Theory people who use the rowers, or the CrossFitters. We should be embracing them. And
I don't know if it's a quantitative thing or whatever, but people get on these rowing machines and they can see their work output over time. And just like hooking a college kid like you when you came to UMass, all of a sudden you get on a machine and you're going really slow, and then a week later you're going that much faster, and then a week later, and you see the growth. And with that, exponentially, you're feeling healthier and more empowered and everything else. I think your average person that gets on these hydros and concept twos, they're going to get that same experience. And I'd like to see the next step be those people step into a boat, because that would be the ultimate, to go from machine to boat. And that's what we do in all of our junior and college programs. The kids start on the machine, they get into the boat. Let's get more people into the boats. US Rowing will be extremely healthy.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. So we're coming to the end of our half hour. So the really important questions that I have, seen that you're now the CEO of US Rowing, do you plan on rowing a mixed double with Mike in the future, and or getting the two kids involved in rowing a quad out there? A mixed quad would be very nice to see.
That would be good. So Wyatt is now taller than I am at 14. So I looked up and he's 6'3". And the mixed double, I mean, I would need your professional advice on if that's good for a marriage.
Definitely good for a marriage. Not for my marriage, but possibly yours.
And who do you put in stroke, and who do you put in bow? The man, the woman, the more alpha in the couple? Like,
I would definitely have you in the stroke seat. I think it's better to have the gal in the stroke seat.
It's better.
Yeah, and your technique was always better than Mike's.
I'm going to have to get him. Yes, I have to agree. When I walk by him erging in the basement now, I have to say I hold back, but sometimes I don't. And sometimes I say, straighten your head out. Like, what are you doing? Because he does this, and I can't hold back. And he kind of grunts something and keeps going.
Say, Mike, this is America. In America, it's all about looking good. You look terrible.
Straighten, don't do that head tilt. But yeah, I think eventually we'll get in a double together. I think that would be a lot of fun. We'd need you to coach us, though.
I'll come on down anytime. Well, US Rowing is in a good place right now. I'm so glad that you're there, and let's look at many, many years of success and growth within our sport and within our country here.
Thanks, Jim. I'm going to be calling you a lot.
Okay, no problem. Charlotte, thank you for the opportunity to do this.
You're welcome. I'd like to be a fly on the wall in some of those conversations.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you both. And we will have you back on if you can catch your breath, maybe in a couple months, Amanda. And
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I know, a lot of people are interested in, supporting you and your efforts at US Rowing. So it's really exciting to have you there.
Thank you. I'm happy to be on again. Yeah, definitely. And happy to hear people's thoughts. And
can you tell us a little bit about the convention coming up? It's December 8th to the 12th, is it?
Yes. Yeah. And it is going to be, as far as virtual things go, I think it's going to be fantastic. We have a really good lineup of people from, coaching education folks, sessions on rigging and nutrition. We have a really good lineup on the DEI front too. We have Arshay Cooper leading the way. He's also hosting an incredible panel. We have Rowing in Color joining us. We have people I'm forgetting. Oh, we have a coastal happy hour. I don't know if that's what we're calling it. I don't want them to think that we're just seeing them as they're the fun beer people. That's not how I see them.
This is virtual. We'll all be drinking at home.
I don't know what Tracy's referring to about Mike JT, but
maybe the fun coastal people. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah.
Was that it?
And then she smiled, and then someone's thanking you.
That's Bill Donahoe, Torque.
Oh, is it? Okay, good. Yeah, I was going to say Richard Butler is going to be on that panel too, right?
Yes, thank you. Richard's been fantastic on the DEI committee. He's co-chairing it with Kirsten Feldman. He's going to be introducing Arshay. It's going to be, I think I'm talking about something less exciting, maybe finances in a boathouse. I don't know.
Oh, that's going to be a big, that's a big topic, believe me. CRI anyway.
I guess I do know about that. And I just, we have a really good lineup. I think nothing replaces being together in person in my mind. As we all know, my own kids in New York City went totally virtual about 3 hours ago, according to our mayor. So I totally appreciate, how important it is to be together in person, and we will be again. But in the meantime, I really hope people will join us. And I do hope that people doing the outreach programs and serving kids from under-resourced communities will take advantage of coming to the convention for free. So I think someone just asked what's happening with Row New York.
Yeah, the Row New York. Who's taking over? Is it an interim or?
Oh, no, so I'm still on the board of Row New York, but we have an incredible team there. And it's led by Rachel Citron, who's been with us since May of 2019. She was really running the day-to-day anyway. She's phenomenal, comes from a sports-based youth development background, is learning to row up at Pelham. Yes, she's at Pelham learning to row, and she's fantastic. And I have no worries about Row New York. I worry more about myself and USRowing right now than Row New York.
It's a real inspiration what you did there. From what I've heard. I have to say I donated something to last year, and I got the nicest letter from you.
Good.
It just had it was so authentic and wonderful and made me feel good. And you just got the nugget. Yeah,
good. We try that. I get authentic a lot. I think that's usually I'm trying to decide if that's
right. Well, listen, we would like everyone to we like to highlight clubs, and I think that's going to be our next episode is going to be club spotlight. So we're going to take 3 random clubs from around the country and just kind of bring their directors on and talk about what's going on at the club. We have the link for that in the show notes if you'd like to submit your club news. And I don't know, not very many people do it, but I wish they would, because I'd love to bring them to light,
Very cool.
Yeah. And then of course, gadgets and gear. I love my gadgets. And so I started this little segment, and this is the $5 Concept 2 phone holder. but they go up from there. And anyway, my company is Pierce Press. I'm actually talking with some rowing people about publishing books, who shall remain nameless at the present time. But we got an award for this book. It's a children's book about these 10 diverse authors that are and that just kind of mixed in with people like Thoreau and Emerson and stuff, but people that you wouldn't normally know as household names, or some of us. Upcoming episodes, we're going to have our 2-year anniversary. We're going to have a major announcement about our distribution. We're going to do, like I said, the club spotlights. We're going to do a piece on rowing apps, and maybe several segments on Tokyo Olympics previews as hopefully the vaccine will be helping turn around the pandemic by spring, but we'll see. And then gadgets and gear. But thank you all, both of you, for this great discussion. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thanks, Jim.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All
Take
right.
care. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.